There you go. So let's continue with the next part of the present perfect. What happened? Present perfect. The next part of the present perfect, it's, there you go. If I write, oh, I can write anywhere actually. Okay. So the next part are the uses of the present perfect. And here is where we are going to see the different uses we have for the present perfect and the differences between the present perfect and the simple past, so you don't confuse them. Okay? So we use the present perfect. We use the present perfect, guys, to talk about an action that started in the past and continues up to the present. Okay? Let me have a wider thing here. Okay. To talk about an action that started in the past and continues up to the present. An action that started in the past and continues up to the present. So for each use, I'm going to give you an example with this. This is time. Time that never stops. Okay, this is time. Time that never stops. Time. Now, since this is time, we have obviously present, we have future, and before the present, we have the past, okay? Before the present, we have the past. Basically, in this point, we have the past. So this is the past. So we said before that we use the present perfect to talk about an action that started in the past and continues up to the present. So let's say that in this point of time, yesterday, let's say it was yesterday. Okay, this is an action. Okay, the action started there. But what happens? This action has not finished. And you may be like, how is that possible? That action has not finished. What action can be like that? Well, that action started there, but today, in the present, it's still on. Okay, it started here. Let me eliminate this thingy here. Oh, oops. Nope, nope. Okay. So it started there, and in the present, it still continues. What? Let me give you an example for that. That is not necessarily yesterday. Let's think about years. Let me give you an example. I'm gonna put the example here. Guys, microphone. Okay, the example cannot disturb this. Okay, very good. So this is my example. He has worked in this company for 5 years. He has worked, well, instead of this company, let's say at this company. He has worked at this company for 5 years. Okay, which means he started working there 5 years ago and he continues working there today. So he has worked at this company for 5 years. Like for example, me, I have worked for Mesit for 4 years. I have worked for Mesit for 4 years. So it means that I started there and today I continue working there. Well, I am here, right? So that's one of the uses, okay? One, only one. An action that started in the past and continues up in the present. I cannot use simple past to say that, because if I use simple past, I am talking about one action that is completed. So if I say he worked there for 5 years, it means that now he doesn't work there. So we're going to see that later. The second use, talk about a past action that has a visible result in the present. Talk about a past action that has a visible result in the present. Talk actually, because I continue here. We use the present perfect to talk about okay, those are the different uses. Okay, so to talk about past action that has a visible result in the present. So we are talking about an action that happened before in time, and let's have another timeline here. An action that happened before the present. So let's have the same thing. We have present, future, and this interval here is past. So the action happened, let's say here, and let me put this over here. The action happened there, but today I can see a visible result of that action, a visible result of that action. Let me give you an example. Imagine this is your neighbor. He has a car. Okay? Imagine he has a car. So he has crashed his car. Crashed is like when two cars, they have an accident and they crash, collapse. Boom. So he has crashed his car. He can drive it. Why he can drive it? Because the car is crashed. Okay? It's in a very bad condition. It's not working. So since he crashed it, you can see it today. You can see the result today. So you can say he has crashed his car. He can't drive it. So what happened here? What you notice is that you don't mention the time at any point in here. Why you don't mention the time? Because you don't know, because it's not important for you, because you don't care. So in this point, time in present perfect, time is not important. We do not need it. So he has crashed his car. He can't drive it. So you can see now the car. You can see it. The car is crashed. So you can see the car. Okay? You can actually see the car in the present. You have a visible result here of the car. So he crashed the car. He crashed the car here. Okay? And today, here you can see the car, the visible result. So that's what it means. To talk about a past action that has a visible result in the present. Okay? Another use. We also use the present perfect to refer. Who's writing that much? Okay, so to refer, what? Ah, okay, okay, okay. What happened? Okay. No, your sentence is incorrect, Joel. He has a driver. That is incorrect because you don't have a verb. You can say he has driven a taxi for 5 years. That is different. He has driven. Driven is the past participle of drive. Okay. So the third use, to refer to an action which happened at an unstated time in the past. So what is unstated? What is unstated? Unstated means that is not mentioned. Time is not mentioned, as I said before, okay? So the action happened at any point in the past, but we don't know, okay? We don't mention that. The person speaking didn't mention that. So that action happened at an unstated time in the past. Do you want an example with that? Okay, perfect. So, that example. I have been to Mexico twice. I have been to Mexico twice. So, when? We don't know. The time is not stated. Okay? So, I have been to Mexico twice. When? We don't know. The person didn't say that. The time is not stated. That's stated. That's what it means. Stated is that the time is mentioned. For example, I visited Mexico last year. The time there is stated is last year. It's stated. It's mentioned. Okay? Good. And the last but not least, to refer to an experience. Okay? When you refer to an experience, we use also present perfect. For example, have you ever been to the US? It's a question, but it's the same. It's an experience. I'm talking about experience. I'm referring to the experience of being there. So have you ever been to the US? So you can say no. I have. I haven't. Let's say I haven't. It's not complicated. Simple answers. Or yes, I have. Okay? And that is the last use, to refer to an experience. Have you ever been to the US? Have you ever been to the US? So ever is a word that we use in the present perfect, basically in questions. In the affirmative, we will see it later on, but in questions, we use it a lot. So have you ever? There is a famous game that is called Never Ever Have You Ever, something like that. Never Ever Have I Ever. Yeah, something like that. So have you ever been to the US? So this means at any point in your life in the past. Okay, have you ever, like, have you at any point in your past been to the US in your life? So you can say, no, I haven't. Yes, I have. So these are the different uses of the present perfect. Okay? These are the different uses of the present perfect. So now let's see a comparison between the present perfect and the simple past. And let me send this picture to the group. Okay, I'm recording a video anyway, but just so you have it there and I can use it later on. So the questions are, teacher, how can I differentiate the simple past versus the present perfect? Well, present perfect versus simple past. We have different ways to differentiate one from the other. But basically, this is how it goes. I'm going to summarize what we have seen so far. Present perfect. In present perfect, we use it to talk about an action that happened in the, well, happened at an unstated time in the past. Okay, an action, oh my. Every time I want to write, okay. An action that happened, yeah, that will be great. We use to talk about an action that happened at an unstated time in the past. Okay, we said that before. You remember we just talked about that. Unstated. Unstated is the opposite of stated. Okay? For example, we can say, I put example here so you can okay. Helen has read the new Harry Potter book. Helen has read the new Harry Potter book. So the question is when? Again, we don't know. The time is not stated. Okay? This is not part of the sentence. Okay, this is separate. This is us asking about the time. And another, an action. I always write actions. An action that started in the past and continues up. An action that started in the past and continues up in the present. Example. You have the example. Tony has worked for this company for 5 years. You got your example there. Pretty easy. So an action that started in the past and continues up in the present. Now, simple past. We use the simple past to talk about an action which happened at a stated time in the past. So this is the first difference. We use the simple past to talk about an action which happened at a stated time in the past. So here the time is stated, the time is mentioned, the time is known for both people speaking in the conversation, okay? Example, Bob hurt his knee during football practice yesterday. So here you can answer the question when? Yesterday. Here you can answer the question when? Yesterday. Because here we have yesterday. So Bob hurt his knee during football practice yesterday. So in the simple past, we have the time. We know when the action happened. The time is stated. We mentioned the time in here. All right. Got it? Got it? So let me circle this in here. Yesterday. Okay. Stated. And here, unstated. So you can see the difference between them. Next one. And last. An action that started and finished in the past. What we call a completed action. Completed 2 times. Okay, cool. A completed action. Okay, so while here we have an action that started in the past and continues up in the present, here we have an action that started and finished in the past. Okay, the action doesn't continue up in the present. The action started and finished in the past. So that's why we call it a completed action that is in the simple past. So when we say, for example, we take the example above with Tony, we can say Tony worked for this company for 5 years. So what happened? Tony worked for 5 years and then he left. In this example, Tony worked for 5 years and then he left. Tony worked for this company for 5 years. So here I use simple past because today Tony is not working in that company. He left. Okay? So that's the idea that I am transmitting here, that the action is complete. The action is started and finished in the past. So that's what it means. And that is basically the difference between the present perfect and the simple past, folks. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the class.